presently using right now, our system. We've been using it for about 3 months now, I think. It seems like about 3 months, Sean. So 3 months, pretty much, we have some iPads. We're able to monitor our grader work, monitor our sprayings, and also monitor our leaks in our pipelines. We're getting this GSI map, and Sean has did a lot of work on this map, so he's going to give you an introduction of what's going on, how we're using this map, and how we can use it in the future. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sean Ostrom.
All right. Howdy, everybody. My name's Sean. I'm an engineering tech 1. I started working with Charles in the maintenance department to kind of do an inventory, and I pulled some ideas from Fresno Irrigation District, met with their GIS specialists, and I liked what I saw, and I thought, hey, we've got similar architecture and software that we can be utilizing further, so kind of been deploying that and adding on to it. So just a brief introduction of what ArcGIS is. It stands for Geographic Information System, so it's how do you relate spatial information and historical or data information and tie the two together. It's a framework for sharing and collaborating all that information. So we'll structure the presentation in 3 parts. We'll look at where we started, what we're implementing now, what we're using now, and then where I see the future of ArcGIS. So we started with ArcGIS Desktop. That is a desktop-only mapping system that is used for editing and creation of maps. It exists solely within the engineering department, which consists of 4 editors. That information is stored locally on the file server that is within the office and is not accessible once you step outside the office. So this is what Darren and I spend a lot of our time in. You'll see various features, types of structures, and points of information on the left, and this is what a typical map looks like. That can then be turned into a printout in terms of a PDF, which is great for static exhibits and stuff like that, and we will continue to deploy those, obviously. But the problem with printed maps is that as soon as you print a map, it's out of date. Because whether it's this turnout no longer exists or gets renumbered, or we added a new SCADA site somewhere, you can see the last time this map was authored was April 2019. So it's ArcGIS Online is the next phase of ArcGIS, and it's replacing the printed PDF map with a digital version of it. One map that can be accessed from any device, laptop, smartphone, or tablet. So what does that workflow look like? So a GIS professional, being the engineering department, works with maintenance department and goes and we collaborate and we say, what's the question that needs to be answered? We then formulate the service and we publish it to ArcGIS Online. Once it's sitting in the internet, it can then be downloaded to any device, viewed, queried, edited, and then distributed to field personnel using various applications. One of those applications that we use is Collector. Collector for ArcGIS is an editing platform. So this is how the district has been able to implement ArcGIS Online in the last couple of months. So we started with the annual crop survey. This happens every year, and we work with the Madera County Ag Commission. We used to work with the Madera County Ag Commissioner. We still are. We're going to do a comparison between those 2 crop surveys, see what the district collected numbers are versus the Madera County Ag Commissioner numbers. We actually just finished it, and I'm working on the summary right now. But I started with gathering the Madera County the Madera County parcel boundary map, and I added the service districts so that we could, we've separated the district into 10 service districts. There's 10 canal operators, so that allows a distributed work one that says 10 canal operators. So they answer 3 questions: whether the field was collected for 2019, what the land use category is, and what the irrigation type is, which we were not able to collect the irrigation type using the county ag commissioner data. So what does this product look like? Well, give it a second here to load. So this is the Madera Irrigation District boundary, and these are all the parcels within that boundary. Any parcel that is green was collected for 2019. Any parcel that was gray, was not collected for 2019. Here you can see the legend. This is exactly how it appears on an application. On an iPad, it's more mobile friendly. So you see the legend here. If the canal operator was unsure of how to classify it, they would classify it as unsure. That would show up as red on the map, and then the engineering department would go out and correct that. So you can see here, they had access to the parcel number, the owner information, the acreage, as well as updated yes or no, land use, and irrigation type. So that's one example of collector. The second is grading and sloping mowing tracking. This is one map that the maintenance supervisors and Charles can go into the map and actually assign. We're using it as almost as a work ticket system. So between mowing, grading, and sloping, you can assign, you can designate the work is in progress or it's completed. An entry includes the location description. The location description, the side, whether it's inside, outside the roadway, the operator, date completed, and status. One huge advantage of a system like this is that the length of the feature is calculated. So this is a way that we can get real analytics on how many miles we're able to grade in a given period of time. All of these features can be filtered and queried to look at specific week, specific operator, analytics that in the past would involve sifting through stacks and stacks of paperwork. So,
Give me 1 second, Sean. So at this point, we can go in there and open up the map, and we can see where the graders have been and where we want to send them to the next location. These are different colors on the map, so I can go in there and I can actually put in a red line where I'm requesting the grader to go to the next time around. So it's kind of good that way we keep track of where we've been and where we're going, and how long is it taking us to get around also. It kind of helps us to figure out how long is it taking us to get around consistent with the graders. It's taking us 2 years, it's taking us 3 years, so that's a big help for us as far as we can see what we're doing and which direction we're going and progress we're making.
So in other words, Charles, on that, if you're color coding it,
Yeah.
green is one that the project you're working on.
One's
Green
been completed.
looks like.
Yeah.
And so then you could have the projects completed in 19, you could have blue, the ones in 18 could be purple.
We talked about that, but I think we were planning on going on to a different map for different years that we talked about, Sean, or we're still playing with this and trying to get real familiar with it, so we're trying to figure out which is the best way to do that. But yeah, we talked about that.
The advantage of the system is that currently the map is built as a status, color-coded map, assigned in progress completed. You could, however, change the symbology to represent all 2019 entries to be red and all 2018 entries to be green. Or you can filter the map to not show 2019 or later.
Okay.
Only filter, you can filter by any of these.
You can do anything you want, basically,
Pretty
so
much.
that
It's
you
highly
can keep
customizable.
track of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The data is also shareable, so we can export the data in an offline format or on an online editable format. It's really just, it's highly customizable. You can take it whatever direction you want it to go, really. This is just how we've set it up and how we've been using it, but obviously it's an ever-changing, evolving system as we develop, you know, oh, this would be helpful information, and then we go in there and add it. Another example is the pipeline leak tracking. This is a map, kind of a compilation. You'll see the incidents. Those were entered in 2016, and then it kind of took a break for a while, and this new leak tracking layer is entries that we started in 2019. The plan is to backfill the map with the missing years. Hopefully we'll get around to that. But what's nice about this setup is that supervisor can go in and find the leak here. They'll enter in the date the leak was collected or noticed. The current status of the leak is either collected in cofferdam, which is a temporary solution, or repaired. Leak severity, as well as the repair start date, any active comments, and the repair finish date. So a combination of all those tools can kind of tell us what is our average leak time, how much downtime is this particular line causing us. Questions that, you know, like I said, would be difficult to answer in the past. You can, once you get a greater number of points, you can symbolize it as a heat map, showing, you know, this particular section of canal has a high probability of, you know, further leaks. So again, data can be filtered by any field. The final, you know, what does it look like when you put all of that information together? That's where analytics comes in, and this product is called Operations Dashboard, and it's really intended for a live use. So this is a post-emergent herbicide application. So like Charles had mentioned earlier, we deployed tablets to our spray department, and they have been entering in their chemical applications. This is everything that they've covered in the last, what, 3 months, Charles?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What's really cool about this map is that all the statistics on the left side are live updating and interactive, and you'll notice that the indicators and totalizers change with the area that you are viewing. So if Charles needs to answer a particular question of what applicator has been making these applications, this map will tell him, versus if he scrolls down here and he can answer what are my primary applicators in this particular area, as well as what's my primary chemical usage throughout the district. Again, all of this stuff can be filtered. This is all the applications within my current map extent in the last 7 days. So we can also do mile totalages as well as season totals. So this is where analytics, you know, can really start answering questions that were previously unanswerable.
And also, we can just keep track of where we've been and where we're going. Also, you know, we got canals that we haven't sprayed in quite a long time. We can look on the map, say, hey, you know, this canal we're missing, let's try to get down and get it done. And also, one thing that really helps is the map. You can put on any one of those maps when we sprayed already, and you can see the date we were there, what chemical we used, and who sprayed it. So it's really critical when you get those kind of calls from some farmer calls and says, hey, you can have some overspray down here. You can tell exactly the date we were there and what kind of chemicals we did. So it kind of helps us out quite a bit. So I think it's a good thing in the long run for us to have that. So I did have that situation come up a while back. And I'm coming through a bunch of paperwork trying to figure out, you know, what day was it we sprayed, looking back at their log, and this is just so much easier, so much better to go back to. So it's just gonna be a lot of help in the future.
Same thing with the grading and slipping, the shape length is calculated, so you can calculate what your you know, chemical usage is over a number of miles, and it's a, you know, budgetary planning tool.
So in other words, our and I'll use the chemical sprayer guy. He enters at the end of the day, he enters in what he's used to some platform. And you don't have to, he don't turn in a piece of paper and someone else has to enter.
No.
He enters it straight to this, so that,
He carries an iPad, a little iPad with him, it's not an iPad, I think we got a little cheaper.
It's an Android tablet.
Android tablet.
whatever.
Yeah, they carry those out there, and then they're able to, every day, at the end of the day, they mark down where they've been, how many, whatever they done, both, if they did the inside and did the outside, that's also put on it also. There's a couple of different platforms they can use, if they only did the inside, they put down the inside, if they did the outside, they will also put that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not an intermediate, we're not having to enter this twice in
No,
effect.
so at the end of the day, that's pretty much done.
Okay.
Yeah. The real advantage of a system like this is that eventually over time it will replace paper workflows. And, you know, that's a huge benefit in the way I see it, so.
Yeah, but the paper industry might not like it.
Well,
Using that probably. Yeah, I mean, I think this is, they gave Tommy and I a preview of this and what they've been working on, a while back, and I think it's great particularly for Charles, because it's not only a planning tool, but it's also a management tool that he can utilize, and again, it's utilizing essentially what we already have available to us for the most part, it's just combining all of that into something that, you know, that Charles can easily go on and visually see and they can manipulate the data, so I think it's great that the engineering department and Charles have been working together.
There's another item we're working on also is we when we put install a new gate and a turnout, we're aware of the date when we can also run and figure out the date when that gate was put in and, you know, what size of gate it was, what type of gate it was, so we wanna be able to keep track of that also, because right now we have a lot of gates out there that are in pretty bad shape, we're just trying to get all of them, so now we're in the phase of going out there replacing gates, so we can really keep a good track on what we're doing and where we gotta go to, what gates are bad, and also the now operators get to the point where they can also, they have a bad gate during the water season, they can mark it on there, and we know they have a bad gate, so we can actually make sure we get over there in the season and repair it and replace it whatever we need to do. So that's kind of what's production and what we're happy also.
You're starting to see the results of the GIS, the investment in the GIS program. I know when I first started, it was really at its infancy, just being creative with one. Where are our systems that weren't accurately mapped? And over time, with a lot of effort by the engineering department refining that, now it's at a point where we can start developing these tools and some of these new platforms that is really showing the benefit of, it's not just to draw a map anymore, it's really these analytical tools that will really help Charles in our record keeping and chemical usage, maintenance, et cetera, everything. It's live in the field, entered on a tablet, put in there, and there's always a map available with all that information right at your fingertips.
yeah, definitely. So the last, and this is more of a down the road look at where can we go from here? This is a typical, this is our current ArcGIS workflow, so you can think of this as the engineering department publishing it to the ArcGIS Online platform and then being accessed on all of those applications that we just looked at. In the future, we could implement what's known as an ArcGIS enterprise system, which allows you to bring in other pieces of information through the ArcGIS data store. Things like Storm, which is our billing platform software, SCADA. So all these platforms that exist separately in their own SQL database system. So answers of what is our current flow at the big main, or what is our current flow at the Hughes head? How many users are currently active and we have to go into a separate application? Where is our current, where is our nearest canal operator? Where is this piece of equipment? All of these pieces of information exist right now, but they're on various platforms. An enterprise system would allow the aggregation of all that data to come together into one unified platform. This is a theoretical, mock-up map of what that could look like. So, with that, I'll turn it over to any questions.
So theoretically, if you went that far, you could start entering the weather for every day and correlate that to the demand that we're seeing, so that you would theoretically in the future, when you see what the prediction is for the weather in the next 10 days, you could start anticipating your water needs.
That is,
Theoretically.
Except you got that human factor, the farmer.
Yeah.
It's called a farmer.
Yeah, it's gonna screw that up, I guarantee you.
you're looking into more modeling software at that point, but yes.
You get a hold of the robot and he turns the switch.
Okay.
And another thing we're working on is mapping, we're also, like, when you brought up the map, you can see where we have different gates, and we wanna get to the point where we can actually open up that map, and we can hit on a gate, and it's gonna tell us a flow right there and then. So anybody can look at the flow and see what's going through that canal system, so that will be a big help also. Especially when guys are doing treatments, you can open up the map, you can figure out, look at the flow of that head of that canal, tell you what's going down there, and you can make an application according to what kind of flow he has. Right now, he has to contact the canal operator, and operator's gotta see what kind of flow, which, you know, this way he can do it all on his own, not bother the canal operator.
So at this point, do you have a picture? Probably don't. A picture of every gate so that
That's what we're trying to get.
so that you can anticipate what it's gonna look like before you can get there?
Well, we're trying to.
For maintenance.
The plan is we can go on the map and we can hit on a gate, it's gonna show us a picture of that exact map, it's gonna come up with that picture of that gate. It's gonna show us the condition of it, and when it was in, and when it was last replaced. That's what we're trying to get working on that right now.
Okay.
So, crossings, canal crossings, some of them out there are pretty old, so if we replace the crossing. If we replace the crossing, we're able to put it to what size pipe, what type of pipe it was, and we can go back to it and know what we've done. So there's some history there that we can keep track of what's going on and where we're at. So,
How many people are inputting data? Or how many people are participating? in
right now, we got, 3 of the spray guys are putting data in there, myself is putting information, the other 2 foremen will be one of them is putting information in there, and who else? Scopers, the grader operator, but the foreman is doing that for them right now, later on.
The engineering department will be doing the well survey for the first time using Collector.
Also, our canal operators have an iPad, each one's gonna do the water orders and things like that, they're also gonna get on the GIS mapping. Actually, they're the ones that ran around and did our survey, on our crop survey, we had the canal operators go out, like I say, we each did them, each know their area, so they went in and did their own crop survey in their system, so that was pretty nice. These are the engineering department that supplied out and do their crop survey in the whole district, so we turned it over to the canal operators, they pretty much did it all. So it's kind of the flow was really well, worked out well.
How long is the software you use to create this? Is there gonna be an expected transition to new software that? You know, that's the hard part about databases is, we've done GPS systems for years of different things, and 3 years or 4 years later, there's a newer, better, faster,
More expensive.
more graphic, or highlight, so, does this transition?
The advantage of a platform like ArcGIS is that it is a web-based platform, so updates happen every 3 months. It's incremental, and the system never goes out of date. So you're always back. Your
You're
previous
staying up
version
with
was
it as
supported.
it's
Yes.
publishing new improvements, you're utilizing those, and you're
Yes.
as long as it maintains successful usership, it's available.
Right.
Right.
And ArcGIS is the industry standard geographic information system, so we are well supported.
So I just wanna remind the board though, it's taken us about 10 years to get to here. So, yeah, so again, they're processes and they take time and they take a lot of information and data and such, and so, but I really appreciate that again, Charles and the engineering department are looking at how to utilize the tools and resources we have for better planning and management, so that's great. So they're gonna continue to evolve and change, and we're gonna be able to find more uses for them in the future, but, it's gonna be processes and they take some time.
There's a lot of different people working on it.
And a
When
lot
we
of
started it,
different- yeah.
no one in irrigation was doing this yet. We
Yeah.
were like one of the first ones that started collecting data for irrigation. Pretty good.
I have a question for Charles. With all the miles and miles of canals you have to spray and have to work around weather conditions, we have, one meter rain during the midweek. Are you set up where we can operate on weekends to get this work done?
We haven't done that, we usually during the week, if when conditions kick up, we have the guys go ahead and stop spraying, because we don't wanna do any overspray and be in trouble there. So we have them shut down, what they do at that time, we have bait stations for the squirrels and things like that, they can go out and take care of that, so we still have ways to keep them
But my
busy.
point is, in the spring, it doesn't get done.
It doesn't get done, correct.
So
We're gonna have days like that.
we're behind on that part.
Yeah, it seems like we're always behind, but right now, I think we're doing a lot of changes in the equipment, we've got some new booms out there that we're using, we got rid of some of the older equipment next year, I got in the budget to actually build one more spray truck, and we're also putting some, in-house building some booms that it seems like we're able to cover a lot more area, and a lot less chemicals, so if any of you guys ever wanna come by and get with me on the one guy and take you out and show you some of the changes that we're doing on our trucks, and putting little bigger tanks, and like I said, change some of the spraying nozzles, I think our efficiency's gone way up in the last probably 6 months.
I encourage you guys to do that, it's pretty impressive what they fabricated in-house.
Yeah.
And the new trucks that they're working with, and the results of that is way more efficiency in this chemical. We all know that they're not cheap, and they're covering more ground with less chemicals, so.
And one of the things I did when I first got here, I rode behind one of the guys and just seen, everything's such a mess. I mean, the boom are just terrible. So we went in and made some major changes, and, we're doing a lot better now. We gotta make one more boom for one of the trucks. So, like I said, if you guys want to drop by, and I'm glad to show you what we got going on, a lot of changes back in the spray department. So, I think as time goes on, we're getting more efficient and a lot better. I think it's just a matter of getting caught up with our equipment. So, hopefully we'll be where we want to be. You know, my plan is, the future is get rid of the mowers. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but that's my plan. You know, I wanna get rid of them at some point, so hopefully we can get there.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Okay, I have item 4, general manager's report. 4A, updated activities, Madera County Compact, 2019 on-farm recharge program, and water supply.
Okay, so the first one, Madera County Compact, I was invited to, actually ask the district to join the compact. This is a group that, believe it or not, we've actually been quite involved with over the years. One of the activities that we traditionally have participated in was the youth summer ag camp program, where Dean and I have both provided presentations to the group out in the field. There's a lot of other partners that provide at the same time presentations. We usually go out right next to a facility and describe the district, how we move water from the reservoirs and such. So we've actually been participating in the county compact, but we haven't actually been members. So we were approached to actually be, for MID to be a member. I was on the Chamber of Commerce board. As you all know, I have turned out since, as of this year. So I do have time now. This group actually only meets quarterly, and they do have some events. I attended their last event, so if the board is comfortable with that, I think it would be a good thing for us to join the city of Madera, Madera County, a lot of universities, Fresno State, University of Merced, and a number of larger businesses in the county of Madera are members, EDCU. You would recognize all the names on here, but it's only $200. It would be quarterly meetings and of course, the volunteering for the different events that they do and a lot of the youth stuff. The focus is to really help all the students in the area be trained and looking at careers locally, and obviously ag in our local economy is very important, so it's important for the district to reach out and show some of the other opportunities, not only just directly related to ag, but in the engineering field. For example, we typically highlight some of the engineering components and what you do with an engineering degree, still working in the ag-based community, which is Dina and myself also both being civil engineers. So we explore not only just the traditional ag-based jobs, but other fields, finance, HR, all of those different components that make up the workforce. They're here locally that you can come back and work for. So that's a big part of it. Unless I hear otherwise, I'll go ahead and get the district signed up and we'll become members and we'll be more involved in the group. I think they've done a lot of really great things.
Would you say the range of the audience is, or who are you giving these presentations to?
Well, a lot of our direct involvement in the past has been on the youth summer camp. I think it's mostly 7th and 8th graders. And I think it's a 2-week program. I don't know all the details, but we spend about an hour with each group kind of talking through what the district is. There's other events too, but it's mostly just describing the job opportunities and making sure that they're provided the information for future careers locally and stuff like that.
The summer camps are ag focused.
And that's not just Madera, but that's, like you say, a lot of up and down the
Well, this is specifically for Madera County, but their membership includes the universities outside of the county. Cause that's their future students, right? So they wanna get involved and they find a lot of benefits to it also. So just go with that, I will move forward in that direction, I'm looking forward to it, and we've had a lot of fun over the years. Actually, we did one, hour-long presentation at one time to all of the, teachers that are from the Unified School District, about the district and the jobs that we have, and we spent a lot of time, Sean Smith, former engineer, and I gave it, they loved it, they wanted us to come back again, so it was geared towards what they could use examples, real-life examples of engineering challenges that we do on a day-to-day basis here at MID that they could use for their education in the classroom. So, it's things like that that gets involved with. Okay, moving on, just another quick thing, we traditionally have been having breakfast with classes, and we invite the board to come cook and be part of that for our staff, that they're working, we typically do that towards the end of the water season, so this year we're planning that for November 22nd, so if any of you are available that morning early, we'll be here preparing breakfast for our staff. If you can join us, we really appreciate that. Water supply wise, we are, I'll call it winding down because it has been a long water year, which is great. Right now we're looking to go into the month of November with our water supplies. We're watching Hensley and our frying supplies as we speak, and it looks like we will be crossing the 25,000 acre foot mark in Hensley and Dam this week. As I mentioned, Charles mentioned earlier, we are shut off for a couple days related to the inspection of the penstock. So we obviously want to get a little bit bigger gap in that, not carry too much over in that reservoir. But we'll be hitting that mark this week. We'll probably take it down close to 20,000 acre feet. In Bryant, we're doing well to get down into the, hopefully below 10,000 acre feet carryover in that reservoir. Obviously carryover is good, but we prefer to have that carryover in our aquifer. So we're trying to get as much in the district as we can. The on-farm recharge program, turnout was fantastic. We had a great response to the request for participation. We have about 50 applicants come in with multiple parcels associated with those applications, and we have delivered about 1,700 acre feet through that program, and we're looking at potentially extending that to within the existing participants, give it a little more time to reach the full 3,000 that was authorized by the board at our last meeting. But I think our goal through that program was a lot of outreach and encouragement and participation. I think we got there with that. So as we move forward in future years, whatever formalized program we develop, I think we've got some great participation and willingness to step up and take that water. So, yes.
Talking to one thing on that program, and you're talking about extending it. The one complaint that I did hear from a few people was, we didn't know it was gonna have a time limit.
We had that, we also had, we wanted to start earlier, we wanted to start later, so I can't make everybody happy, but I think we did get a lot of water moved, that some of it that otherwise may not have. We had some new turnouts come online with the program that hadn't traditionally taken water, or new turnouts that the same grower utilized, so I think overall it was a success on the outreach component, and it got some additional water moving. As Charles mentioned, we did pick up on our flows, about doubled our flows in October in comparison to September, so that's a good sign. And the flows actually pretty much stayed up. We've been shutting off on weekends and dropping off, but we've picked up again this week, so. we should be in good shape
And
to get some
I
more.
fully understand these kinds of complaints, and I think it's a learning process on both sides, on the district side, how to set up a program, and then on the farmer side of how to use it.
Absolutely.
And so, I expect that if we do it, hopefully next year we have that much water available too, that, it'll be even more successful. But the main thing I thought was good is the fact that we had 50 applicants.
It was a great, it was a great turnout. We got, I mean, it exceeded our expectations of the number of applications we received, which is great. And again, multiple parcels, and we really wanted to try and encourage participation through this, which I think we did. And then I also just want to remind everybody and point out, this is one of the projects in our GSP, for the MID GSA. And so, as of 2019, we've already done multiple projects that we stated we would within the GSP, and so, and we'll continue to do that in the next implementation period. So, it's great.
And so, when someone asks me, what do you mean by end of November? Should I say probably towards that?
Into November. Not in the, yeah. Yes.
No, so we're looking into November, yes. And
Yeah.
Of course, it all depends on if our demands stay up like they are. That end date will be based on our use.
So I'll tell them into November, and if you keep using it, it will go further into November.
No, actually,
A
it'll
little
be-
bit of both.
We will likely have carryover water, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it will be based on, I know Charles' position, he gets maintenance done too. But if we get some fall rains and we don't have any demand whatsoever, we're just charging the system.
Yeah.
And we can get to work, we'll look at that, we'll have to look at our carryover balances, of course, but, we'll be watching that closely. Right now, we're confident we'll make it into November, into November.
I'll give them your phone number.
All right, they got it, trust me.
I think an observation I made during this last couple of weeks is that, with a lot more users, there's a lot more flexibility in the system. So being able to shut off and start, because there's so many players involved. And I've noticed that with that comes a lot of, I think, a little more volatility or less stability with the water supply. At least with waters that we're taking, my irrigators tell me, hey, we lost our water last night, then it's back on the next day. So I think with many users on the system, it's not very regulated in terms of growers will open up more and they have a certain head in their box, and so they'll end up taking more than what they thought they were based on how they make their sets. And so you see this fluctuation with a little less stability, but at the same breath, you're seeing more ability for the canal operators to move water around on shorter notice.
Yeah, when you have more players, you can absorb much easier, but I would encourage you, please let your operator and let Manuel and Charles know of any of those operational challenges you're having, so that we know about them, because we are looking at providing enhancements in the system, either through automation or system storage, so that those can be absorbed. If there's a shortage, we can pick it up, or we can place water into storage. So please let Manuel especially know, and then he can relay that to Charles, so that as we're planning our infrastructure improvements and storage capabilities, automation, we know where our challenges are in the system.
Yeah, one thing we're gonna do quite a bit is we got users that actually say they're gonna go off at a certain time and they end up running a little longer, so that really when the next guy wants to come on, we try to move the water from one section to another section, let another guy pick it up, but it don't always work out that way. Do the best you can.
Yeah, I just know what I'm talking, I've talked to several now for different properties, and different systems, and every time I get a chance, I try to survey them, see how much pressure they're on, where their head's at. And usually it's always like, yeah, a lot of water. Got a lot of water going right now, or, I was actually surprised, some of these, you put an order in and say, oh, I want some water on Monday or Tuesday. Man, what time, it's like, well, I don't know, what time can you get to it? I don't know, I've got 8 orders, I got 8 things this morning, stop and start, so I could just see that, it's great that.
It's great to have all that, but it does keep them pretty busy and you can't start everybody in one day, so you gotta actually hold somebody off, so you can get them on schedule, so.
But I've liked hearing how challenging it is,
Yeah.
if we're still able to put those pieces together and say, okay, this guy, this, and it just kind of helps the flow to make a start, stop, and then they just go around again and do it, we're just staying busy.
Yeah.
Just remember, it takes a couple days to get our water from the reservoir into the system. So changes take time, they don't happen instantly. That's all I have. Any questions?
That cover the water supply too? Sure, sure.
Tommy, also on October 24th, we're having flu shots, taco safety luncheon, and flu shots.
Very important.
Yes.
Let's get your flu shot.
That's Thursday, October 24th at noon, we will have taco luncheon, and then a safety training, and flu shots will be here at 2 o'clock. Maybe a little bit earlier, they're coming from Oakhurst.
And it's also the deadline to determine your packets for open
So we'll take your paper, we'll give you taco, and give you this shot.
I wanna know how it's
October
flu shot.
24th, Thursday, yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. Any other questions?
Good.
Okay.
So we've added this to the agenda as reoccurring business over the next few months, so that we have the opportunity to update the board and the public about the Fresno River adjudication process. On September 17th, the State Water Resource Control Board had a meeting, to discuss the petition that was submitted by MID last year. Tommy Gracie, John Kinsey, Jim Erickson, Rebecca Maddox from John's office, and myself attended the meeting. We made a presentation to the State Water Resource Control Board. I think it was, fairly well received by the board. They also heard other presentations from stakeholders that day. And the board, the State Water Resource Control Board, decided to approve the staff's recommendation of a resolution that includes an 8-month facilitation process, starting in September and going through May of 2020. And as part of that resolution, there were a number of points made by the State Water Resource Control Board staff that, again, the State Water Resource Control Board accepted. One of them, and this information is available on the State Water Resource Control Board website, so anybody can go on and find these documents and read the documents in detail. But just in summary, again, it directs the parties to return to the State Water Resource Control Board in May of 2020. It directs the State Water Resource Control Board staff to begin a desktop investigation of the claims of right to divert and use of water along the main stem of the Fresno River. It directs the state board to investigate funding for facilitation services. And then it says it will, in May of 2020, the State Water Resource Control Board will evaluate the progress towards a negotiated agreement between the parties, and it goes on to include more details on what they need towards the negotiated agreement. And then direct staff to evaluate on an ongoing basis the parties' progress towards developing an agreement. And that's really the highlights of what the State Water Resource Control Board approved in their resolution. And then as a follow-up to that, MID was contacted yesterday by the facilitators that were hired by the State Water Resource Control Board. And it sounds like they are beginning the interview process of stakeholders. So MID will participate in those interviews and is ready and willing to participate in the process through May of 2020 to see if there's, to see what progress can be made amongst the stakeholders. So.
Just to restate what you already said, this is a recurring business item as you noticed, so it will remain on our agenda, give an opportunity for staff to update the board on any activities that occur between the meetings, but it also presents an opportunity during public comment for anyone to approach the board and let their concerns be heard or thoughts and whatever they may.
And John and Jim were also in attendance at the meeting on the 17th. I'm not sure if you have anything.
Right, just to note that, staff obviously is going to be, participating in these, discussions with, quite a bit of activity, obviously. This is an important process, and, we're going to do whatever we can to provide information to the state board, expeditiously and, actively participate in those discussions.
Basically there to try and make sure they understood that it was, all of us, not staff pushing this, but it's the board and for the reasons of, the betterment of the whole group. Not just, it was interesting seeing how they work up there too. Or not that,
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we skip to 7A, John, so we can, yeah,
Yes.
come back and forth. 7A, discussion possible action on the Fresno River operations for the 2020 repairing water year.
As the board is aware, the
The dream boat, so you know.
The 2020 water year began on October 1st related to riparian. As the board's also aware, the district has the Fresno River Operations Protocol to operate under for the Fresno River system. And so the staff is just looking to the board for a possible action on operating under the Fresno River Operations Protocols, which means they run the reverse scenario for the 2020 operations of the Fresno River.
I would move to follow the same protocol, even though it's
Second. First and second, questions from public? Questions from board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are on the river. Okay.
And we'll, Carl can get them on Friday
Oh,
out.
yeah. We jump back up. Charles,
Yeah. We are 6A, discussion and possible action on the pipeline easement agreement between Madera Irrigation District and Madera Water District, resolution number 2019-37.
This item has remained on the agenda for a while as we finalize some of the documents related to the easement. Just as a refresher memory, the district was approached by Madera Water District to develop a project that would bring water to Madera Water District from the Madera Lake. It would include a pump station and pipeline. Many benefits for Madera Water District in that it would create a new point of connection for them from the far side of the district. So you have 2 points on each side of the district, which creates passing benefits. It also provides a connection from Madera Lake, which is supplied from the Fresno River versus the Bryan supplies. So, you know, there's many scenarios where there could be water availability on one side and not the other. So it also provides more redundancy. This would provide an easement for that piece of infrastructure that would need to be constructed on the Madera Lake property, and it would be very necessary to get out there and actually operate and maintain it too.
Yeah, that's part of the agreement.
And I also just wanna remind the board that as is for today, that there are many districts that are in Madera Water District that are also part of the MIT.
What?
Okay. Do we have a?
Yeah. I move to approve resolution 2019-37.
Second. First and second. Questions from public? Questions from board? Pull the board, please.
Treasurer Lopashy absent, Director Cousins?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, 7B, discussion possible action on Madera Irrigation District's restated 457 plan adoption agreement, qualified domestic relations orders procedure, and summary of plan provisions, resolution number 2019-44.
Henry, can you just go through all the way through each?
There's E, yeah, discussion, 7C, discussion possible action on authorizing trustees and signing authorizations for the 457 plan, that's resolution number 2019-45. 7D, discussion possible actions on modifications to district policy, section 418, deferred compensation, resolution number 2019-46. And 7E, discussion possible action on statement of services agreement with Cornerstone Advisory Group for the district's 457 plan, resolution number 2019-47.
All very much needed. Any questions? It's not that easy.
Good.
Okay, so, our inception date for our original 457 plan was July 1st, 1991. And as with any plan over time, changes need to occur, whether internal, such as our inclusion of rollover, or legislative, such as the 2001 extra tax law, which allows for catch-up provisions for employees over 50. Our new restated plan now includes these items amongst other necessary updates and will take effect January 1st, 2019. So it's really a retro effective date as per recommended by resolution, retirement plan consultants. This was done by working in connection with our third-party administrators and district management to develop the adoption agreement, which is then used in turn to create the summary of plan provisions, which is a layman's term document dispersed to employees and staff to communicate elements of the plan. The QDRO obviously is a document that went into effect 1984 by the Retirement Equity Act, so that must also be inclusive in that plan. Of course, with the restatement of the 457 plan, there's a resolution in place for signature to authorize trustees and signatories And then we have our updates to the plan, 457 plan, and then trigger updates to our deferred compensation policy. So basically, we updated our policy, section 418, to include elements of the 457 plan that was not present before. Elements such as eligibility, costs, administration, who's gonna be administering the plan, unforeseeable emergency criteria, the criteria needed to withdraw funds early, and contributions, what monetary, allotments can be deferred into the plan. We also included specific references from the IRS into the plan, in this regard. And overall language was added to be consistent with our new, not new, but restated, 457 plan document. And finally, we have a statement of services agreement with the Cornerstone Advisory Group. As those of you may know, Brian Griffin is the representative of Cornerstone and has offered our district ample support with regards to our 457 plans, administration support, enrollment, and or individual employee meetings to clarify investment options, etc. This agreement is to have a document in place as his current document agreement that we have with him is specific to our other retirement fund, which is 401. So this agreement is for our 457 plan.
So Tanisha and Anthony, for the board, were there any material changes, for the 457 plan, or is this all process?
It's all process, no material changes. Just a process to, like I said, keep a restated plan in place, make all the changes necessary to update the plan with current laws, and which in effect makes us change our policy to account for those changes. And, again, when Brian came on board on the 401A side, when we implemented that plan, we converted to the 401A, that agreement was specific to the 401A, we needed to have an updated agreement for 457. The retirement plan consultant already had agreed for both plans, but Brian did not, so we have to update his plan, his agreement.
And so Tanisha and Anthony worked with both Mel Hill and Brian Griffith on these documents and getting this plan updated.
And we've also had, review from the employees.
Yes, and
Yes.
MIT signed off on the policy.
They did review it and sign it.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, 1 year on policy, the district will pay all administrative costs of the plan. We're really not making any change, are we, of what we've been covering?
No, we've always paid
Yeah.
administration.
And that the advisors and record keeping are paid by their,
Paid by
Yeah,
Gloria.
exactly. Paid to the
Yeah,
end.
and then there was a commission scheduled back here towards the end.
And that's in our existing, those are our existing plans.
That is the same as what we have been doing, and it has to do with your age under and over and all things. I didn't really understand it, but it had a lot of stuff, numbers there.
Those are the original agreements that Brian had together.
What's our address here?
2152 or 20.
Those are the original documents from
1991.
That's 91 was the original.
That's not the address.
Yeah.
It's down the street.
Another reason for
Yeah, that'll be, exactly, yeah, that's our new office.
We're planning ahead.
We didn't tell you by documents, you're actually agreeing on the new office.
Okay.
Okay, I move for the resolution number 2019-44.
Second.
First and second, questions from the public? Questions from the board? Full board, please.
Director LaCroix is absent. Director Hudson?
Yes.
Director Davis? Director Jansen?
Yes.
Director Erickson?
Yes.
7C.
Move to approve 2019-45.
Second.
First and second. Questions from the public? Questions from the board? Poll the board, please.
Director LaQuashi absent, Director Cousins?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Erickson?
Yes.
Sorry, Director Jansen, Director Erickson.